Good morning, and thank you for joining us for today's virtual tour brought to you by Region 9 and the Arts Council. Today, we're at the KFDX studio and on site at Fain Fine Arts Theatre at Midwestern State University to enjoy Wichita Falls Ballet Theatre's presentation of Sleeping Beauty. Before the performance begins, we'll hear from Mishik Liberatore, Artistic Director of the Ballet Theatre, and if we have time at the end of the ballet, Mishik and Executive Director Val Liberatore, they'll take some questions from you. So be thinking about your questions while you watch the performance. Now, let's join Mishik to find out more about this performance. Hello and good morning, Mishik. Tell us about the performance of Sleeping Beauty.
Good morning. Hello, everybody out there. We're so excited to be here with the Wichita Falls Ballet Theatre. And of course, I'm Mishik Liberatore. I'm the Artistic Director. I've been the Artistic Director for the Ballet Theatre for 9 years now. And we've been doing this virtual tour with the Kemp Center and the Arts Council for about 5 years now. And these are really exciting for us because we get to really bring the arts to the classrooms. So today, everybody is going to see the Sleeping Beauty, Act 3. So this ballet actually is a 4-act ballet. It has a prologue, Act 1, Act 2, and then Act 3. So for time's sake, we're only doing Act 3 today, but it's a really exciting act. You're going to see Aurora and the Prince. You're going to see all the characters that show up to their big wedding in the ballroom. There's Puss in Boots and the White Kitty and Red Riding Hood. All the storybooks show up. So it's going to be a really, really exciting event for everybody to watch. Something really fun about Sleeping Beauty is the music is Tchaikovsky, and he composed it back in the 1800s, and it's actually a 4-hour ballet. But we have condensed it down over the years because 4 hours is a really long time for anybody to sit in an audience and watch a performance. So we've condensed it down to be about a 2.5-hour ballet for audiences to enjoy, and you guys are going to get to see about 45 minutes of it.
Mishik, I just want to say that Sleeping Beauty is such a timeless and classic story, and so we're certainly excited to see our ballet dancers out there bring this story to life.
And I think everybody's really going to enjoy seeing the beautiful costumes. There's a lot of tutus in this ballet, which is kind of the quintessential costume that every ballet dancer wants to wear, and Sleeping Beauty is full of tutus, and I really enjoyed getting to costume this production and get to buy all these costumes and go online and find all the colors I needed and everything. So the dancers are really excited for everyone to see them in tutus as well.
That's one of the fun things to watch about ballets is certainly the costumes, let alone the production and the scenes. And so we're certainly excited not only to see the characters come to life, but to see the colorful costumes as well.
Yes, and at the end, everyone's going to get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes of how our crew works, because it's not just the dancers on the stage. It takes a whole crew of people behind the scenes that are making all the magic happen. So when we come back at the end, I'll have a few characters with me, and we'll do some question and answering, but you'll get to see a sneak peek of our crew working behind me setting up prologue for tonight's performance.
Mishik, that is so exciting that you're bringing up the production aspect of this production here of Sleeping Beauty. And so that's something that we'll certainly not only take a look at, but we're going to analyze as we watch the production. We're so excited to take a look.
Yeah, I want kids to know out there that you don't just have to be a dancer to be a part of an arts production, that you can be in the costuming department, you can be in the crew department, you could be a stage manager, a lighting designer. There's so many different facets that take to put on a whole production. So we just want to make sure that everybody sees all of those things in case it might spark an interest for somebody in the future.
That's so exciting. And speaking of the production aspect of a ballet, how many dancers would you say are actually in this production of Sleeping Beauty?
So we have around 60 dancers in the production, and then we also have some extras. Our king and queen and our court couples are actually moms and dads and board members from the Wichita Falls Ballet Theatre that just wanted to be a part of the production and get to experience being on stage, and the students will get to see them sitting during Act 3 as well.
And that is so much fun that this is actually a ballet for all ages. Anyone in the family can enjoy this type of production. And again, being brought here locally and having schools from across our area being able to witness this anybody can get inspired by such a production.
Yes, it truly is a local production. We the only guest artists we've brought in are our Bluebird Prince. He actually is from New York City, but he trained with us first and now went off to New York City to start his professional career, and I brought him back. And then our Prince, who will dance with Aurora, he's from Oklahoma City Ballet. So those are the only people we brought in. Otherwise, everybody is local. They've trained here. They train at the Wichita Falls Youth Ballet, which is where they get their dance classes, and then they rehearse and do the productions through the Wichita Falls Ballet Theatre. So we do try to keep everything local. And the crew that you'll see working behind us, those are actually MSU students who are working towards degrees in the arts field. So whether it be, a designer or a crew or a lighting designer or maybe being an actor, we hire the MSU students to be our production crew so that they can get some hands-on experience.
Mishik, now that is exciting. Being able to see some familiar faces in our community could possibly be in this ballet. And so that is something to look forward to, certainly.
Yes.
Now, Mishik, let me ask you this. How long did it take you all to put this production together, and when did you all actually start?
So we started in February. I actually started costuming it earlier because it takes time for things to get mailed these days. But we started rehearsing it in January. And I just want everybody to know that I did not change most of the choreography. This is professional level choreography that these artists have stepped up to and have worked on and really worked very hard to perfect. So they are doing what a professional ballet company, what my husband and I got as students. So it's really phenomenal what they've been able to accomplish. And I hope that when people are watching, they can really see the artistry the dancers are bringing and the technique that they've been working on, because this is not easy. Sleeping Beauty is one of the hardest ballets that a professional dance company will put on. And these students that are aged 10 to 18 have really just taken to the challenge and have done a beautiful job.
Speaking of beautiful, the story of Sleeping Beauty is not only very enchanting, and it's such a wonderful, like I said, timeless story, but bringing this to life in a ballet, like you said, the hard work that goes behind it and the execution. Now that's something else to talk about, and let alone letting our kids know the work that goes behind it, but the outcome, how great it is, and the beauty behind it.
Yeah, and I just want people to realize that, dance is a sport. It is very athletic. They have to use their whole body to do what they're doing, plus their mind. So, because they have to dance to the music. So this is their sport. They spend just as much time as a football player or a basketball player or a volleyball player would spend on the court practicing. That's what these dancers do after school 6 days a week. We actually do rehearse on Saturdays as well. So it is their passion. It's what they want to do when they grow up. They're hoping to become professionals one day. So, this is truly exquisite what the time and the energy and the discipline that they put into this art form.
Exactly. And then you have a vast age ranges which are in this ballet that have been working so hard to put this production on. Why don't you tell us the age ranges of the people who are participating in this production?
Sure. So today you're going to see mainly our company dancers, and they're age 10 to 18. But in the full production, we actually have 6-year-olds that are ferry attendants that are married up with the older fairies that come on to present Aurora when she's a baby, all her gifts that they give to her. So we have all the way down to age 6-year-olds, already working on the stage in productions, learning how rehearsal processes go and how the backstage works. And, it's the hardest thing I think for my younger dancers is they just want to talk a lot. And so, having them learn at a young age, when you're backstage, you can't talk. You have to be very quiet. Is really, it's actually a lot of fun, because I think when they first walk onto the stage and they see the sets and they see the dancers, the older dancers in their costumes, they all are in such awe that they all of a sudden don't want to talk anymore. So it's really, really great. But yeah, we have all the way down to 6-year-olds in our production.
Mishik, that is wonderful. We've got our little types getting already used to what it's like to put on a production at this capacity. What
Yes.
are the different roles that one may be able to get into if they wanted to get into a production?
So I will talk about just real quickly our Nutcracker production that we'll be doing in December. We do open auditions, so you don't have to be a part of the Wichita Falls Ballet Theatre Company or a part of the Wichita Falls Youth Ballet School. We do an open audition for anybody that's age 10 and up that's had dance experience, and then we also audition adults that have had no dance experience, and they can be party parents and, you know, just be on the stage and get to wear the beautiful Victorian costumes and enjoy the production. So we really try to include all different ages, and I'm always looking for, you know, anybody that wants to be a part of the production, whether it's working front of house or helping me backstage. There's always lots of different opportunities for anybody. But if you're interested in being in a production, you can always check out the Wichita Falls Ballet Theater's website, which is very simple, WFBT.org. We post everything on there when we have any kind of auditions coming up or any performances. And there's a email, info@WFBT.org, that you can email us if anybody has questions about how they might be part of a production or, you know, just questions in general. We'll be happy to help anybody.
I'm glad you elaborated on contact information and how anyone is wanting to get involved, what they can do and where they can go to do so. So thank you so much for letting us know that information, especially for families out there. Anybody interested in getting into a new hobby, that would be super wonderful. You can try to take your chances
Yes.
at getting on the stage. So I love that story there. Thank you so much, Mishik, we appreciate that. And so I know that you all are going to be starting the performance soon. What else can we expect?
Yes. You know what? I'm just really excited for all these kids that are sitting here also in our audience. We have a full house today. And, you know, the dancers have been here since 8 o'clock this morning getting dressed and warmed up on stage and ready for the performance. And that is sometimes hard for the dancers to be so early in a theater, you know, especially because we were here last night until almost 9 o'clock doing dress rehearsal. But like I tell them, once these kids get in the house and everybody feels the energy, the audience with kids was always my favorite as a professional dancer because they just have an amazing energy that they bring when you're performing, and their reactions and just how they are with the performance is really a lot of fun. So I think that even our audience that's sitting on, you know, watching us virtually, I think they're going to really enjoy the performance, and they're going to get to see a lot of really great dancing and some wonderful music. And so I think that's what everybody can expect.
That is wonderful. And again, I see the kids out there all talking to each other, already smiling, having a good time. And this is certainly a great way to keep our kids active over the summer break and just keeping them interested.
Yes, we just want everybody to fall in love with the arts, whether you're in a performance or you're coming to see a performance. It's just, you know, arts is a really, really important part of our society. And so, you know, I'm just so thrilled that all these schools and the homeschool families and the schools that are watching virtually wanted to give this gift to their kids so that they can be inspired, because, you know, art really does inspire us our creativity.
Yes, certainly. And it just really opens your mind, it opens your eyes, and it gives you new perspectives of just life in general. So we are not only so excited to have you all on, but certainly excited to see this production.
Yes.
All right, Mishik, thank you so much. All right.
Okay,
so
I will see everybody at the end.
Okay, we're looking forward to it.
Enjoy the performance.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so now if you all have any questions, please feel free to submit them, because we're going to make sure that we answer them and get them to Mishik and Val as soon as possible. But in the meantime, we're going to be on standby because the production is soon to start any moment now. Wow, what an incredible performance of Sleeping Beauty Act 3. That was wonderful there. So congratulations, not only to Mishik, but Val, and to all of those in the ballet. It sure was an amazing production, wasn't it? So now we're going to take a few questions. And if you have any questions for Mishik or Val, we want to hear from you. So we're going to now wait for those questions. And again, if you can share those with us and share your favorite moments, that would be great. And now we're actually going to check back in with Mishik now. Let's see if we can reach her out there. Mishik, can you hear us? Alrighty, so Mishik and Val Liberatore, it looks like they're going to be joining us as we take some questions. We've got some questions for them, especially on this incredible performance. So, Mishik, Val, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Val's not on headset, but I can relay any questions.
Oh, good. Okay, so Mishik, if you could just tell Val hello, and that we're saying hello here from KFDX Studios.
Can you just say hello and just introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Valentine Liberatore, the wolf.
Hi, I'm Abigail Sadler, and I'm playing Aurora.
Okay, thank you so much, Val and Abigail, for introducing yourselves. And let's go ahead and start about these amazing costumes that we see you all wearing here, the dancers. Oh my goodness, let's start there. Mishik, if you could tell us about these costumes and how they were created.
So we actually bought most of these costumes from China, but I do have some details in how tutus are made. It takes about 80 hours for one tutu to be built. So if you can imagine sitting at your desk for 2 weeks, Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day, and sewing one of these tutus. All of these jewels are individually sewn on, and then, you know, all the tulle, the different layers that it takes. So just to do one tutu took 2 weeks, 80 hours. So it's a lot of details and a lot of work that goes into these.
Yeah, that is a lot of work to go in just one tutu, and they were so detailed and so beautiful to look at. And so 80 hours, I can certainly see why. Why don't you tell us a little bit more too about in the actual production? Again, how many people, if you could just reiterate that number, were in today's production of Sleeping Beauty?
So what we saw today was about 40 people on the stage, but total there's about 60 dancers that are in the full production. So if you came and saw the production, like tonight we have a 7 o'clock performance, tomorrow we have a 1 o'clock performance, you would see a prologue, which is where baby Aurora is introduced as a baby, and all the 7 fairies come on with their different gifts. They give the gift of generosity, of beauty, of prosperity. Help me out, I'm missing some, but they all bring their special gifts to Aurora, and then they all dance a variation. And then, of course, Carabosse, which is Maleficent, which is what everybody knows her as, but in the ballet world we call her Carabosse. She comes in at the end and makes trouble because she wasn't invited to Aurora's christening, and she's very upset, so she puts a spell on Aurora that she's going to die. Then Lilac Fairy comes in and saves the day like she always does, and she says, no, she's not going to die. She's just going to sleep for 100 years. And then a prince will come from very, very far away and kiss her, wake her up, they'll fall in love, and they'll get married. And that's what you guys saw today. You saw the end of the ballet, Act 3, when they get to celebrate their wedding, and all the characters from the storylands come in. There was Cinderella and Little Red Riding Hood, and you had I already said Riding Hood, Bluebird, and Prince Florentine, and I'm skipping, Puss in Boots. That's who I'm missing, sorry, as my earpiece is falling out. So they all come in to celebrate, and of course Lilac Fairy, she was in the purple tutu with all the purple girls around her. She comes in to also bless the wedding. So there's actually an Act 1 and 2, so she gets introduced in Act 1. Aurora is as an older teenager, 16 years old. And all the suitors come from different lands to propose marriage. But of course, Carabosse comes in and she pricks her finger and falls asleep for 100 years. So that's kind of the whole story in a very short, condensed. Yeah, she looks great for 100 years old, doesn't she?
I was going to say just perfect, if you would. And I just want to say this too, you know, Ballets can bring so many emotions for so many people. It could be enchanting, disturbing, magical, and we certainly saw that in Act 3 of this ballet performance here. And we have some questions rolling in, actually, and so we'd like you to tell us, and actually one of the questions that's being asked is, in the performance, was it a live recording when it comes to music, or was it just a recording?
So yes, it is canned, what we call canned music. So it is recorded, and it actually took me many hours to get all the different dances put together, because we have to think about tempos when we're dancing. And sometimes when you get just a general recording off of Amazon or different places, the recording's too fast because the orchestrations have just played it not for dancing. So I actually had to work with Kansas City Ballet to get their recording, and I worked with Cincinnati Ballet to get their recording of Sleeping Beauty, so that we could make sure the tempos were good for the dancers to be able to dance to.
So it certainly seems here that communication is key when putting on a production of this caliber. We have another question rolling in as well, Ms. Schick, and it says, how many hours of practice did you all put in for this production?
Abigail, do you want to answer? How many hours did you put in for?
Okay. Well, usually we're at the studio 6 days a week, and we're usually have rehearsal 3 to 4 days out of the week. But I mean, we've been working on this since like February, so there's just, and then on Saturdays are like our biggest days, and we can be in the studio for like 6 hours usually. And so, and then there's also going home and going over everything you've learned, and then preparing yourself for the next rehearsal. So it never stops. You literally like eat, sleep, dream ballet every day.
Very true.
And
yes,
that is
yes,
so
it's
true,
many hours. And like she said, it doesn't just stop when you walk out of the studio, because the girls have to prepare their point shoes, which takes, hours to sew and break in and get ready. So it's a lot on these young dancers.
Yes, certainly not only being dedicated, but certainly being excited about what you love to do, which is dance. And so that's exciting to hear that. More questions. And of course, we have more interested viewers from the show. And so again, we want to know too as well, how many costumes total were in the production?
Oh my goodness, how many costumes total? I'm going to say probably 150, because some of these dancers through the prologue and 3 acts will wear 3 or 4 different costumes. So just Val himself, because he plays another character called Catalabut, which is like the king's right-hand guy. He wears 3 different costumes just as Catalabut, and then he has the wolf. So Aurora wears 3 different tutus, just, going through all the different acts. So there might even be more than 150. I'm not going to lie. I worked on a lot of them, sewing and details and things, but I didn't ever count. I know we have 5 wardrobe crates full of them, so.
Well, I will say, the jewels on the costumes are certainly dazzling, and they certainly caught my eye as I saw the performance and the production just open. Are the jewels real? Could you answer that question, Ms. Schick?
No, they are not real. I wish the jewels were real, but then we would have to have armed security around her at all time.
Oh, yeah, especially in these times. I certainly would agree with you. So let me ask you, too. Yes. I was watching the dancers just gracefully move across the stage, and I know you have to have not only a lot of talent, but it takes a lot of focus to be able to execute those beautiful dance moves. Is there anything in those ballerina shoes that keeps them sturdy on their toes? Is there a trick to that, or are they just standing on their toes?
Will you talk about what you put in your point shoes and how you stand on your toes? Does it hurt? All of those kinds of things.
Okay. For me, yeah,
that's what I said. I'll hold you up.
You have to sew ribbons and elastic, and then I also darn the tip of my shoes. That can help just for like the aesthetic look. It can help with balance. It'll help you like not slip sometimes. But usually for what I just do is I just have like a little toe pad, which is just like a little half sock. And then sometimes I will tape certain toes just for blisters. And that's like all I do for my point shoe prep. Yeah,
so point shoes are a very personal thing to each dancer. know, when I dance professionally, I just tape my toes. I didn't put anything else in the shoe. Sometimes always look and go, how did you do that? And I said, well, you don't want to see my feet right now because, you know, years of dancing on your toes. But it is a very personalized thing from dancer to dancer to dancer. And Val, why don't you talk about what the guys do?
Well, the guys have it pretty easy. As you can see, we have our basic ballet slipper, which is kind of like wearing socks. So we don't have much besides 5 minutes of sewing on some elastics. Sorry, my extra mouth is in the way. And for us, it slips on real easy. It's not as personalized as point shoes.
So the breakdown of how the shoes and how you all walk and the visual to that, I mean, that certainly answers a lot of questions that I had buzzing around my brain on how you all are able to do that so gracefully. Okay, and so we also have, again, more questions rolling in, more interested viewers, and they also want to know, how do you all feel as dancers right before a performance?
How do you feel right before you go on stage?
Usually, like, you're excited, and then right before you go on, it's usually like you get a little bit of an adrenaline rush, but as soon as you, like, go on stage, and then if you're doing a pas de deux, or you see your partner, or just, like, quarter ballet and dancing with a group of girls, you just, like, feel everybody's, like, presence, and just, like, you just feel together, and just all the rehearsing, too, it just makes it feel like a performance, and you can just, like, show your heart and your presence performing the character.
Sure. I won't lie. After many years of doing this, I still get nervous. I get excited, adrenaline as well, but I think that's also part of the nerves, is kind of psyching myself up to go on stage. But one thing you made a great point of is once you get out there, you feel that family sense of presence and togetherness. So that nerves and kind of calms you down a little, and you can just focus on your moment. So
one of the things I do is I try to talk to the dancers about making sure that before they go on stage that they breathe, because oxygen will help calm your nerves. That was one of the biggest things for me as a dancer. I always would take my time to make sure I was really breathing in and out before the curtain went up, and just kind of calming your body and becoming kind of one with the environment that you were around. And it's so true. Dancers' energy feeds off of everybody. So, you know, she may be the principal dancer of this ballet, but her presence and her energy is there for everybody, and everybody is also there for her. So it really is a group effort. Even when she's on stage by herself doing a solo, or you saw the jewels in the beginning, the three girls that danced in the beginning doing a solo, everybody standing in the wings, all the dancers are standing there very supportive. You can hear them go, yes, when something went right, and, you know, they're clapping, and you can see the excitement. And when they come off stage, they're always like, good job, that was so great. And so, you know, it's really, it is, like I said earlier, a sport. I mean, these are all of their, I don't know, teammates kind of, you know, backstage and trying to be supportive. So it's really neat to watch.
Well, it's kind of funny. When you were dancing just now, I was kind of trying to do the movement, and someone said to me, well, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. I feel like if I'm doing it, it's sending her energy to help lift her up. So yeah, it is true. Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you brought that up, Mishik, in terms of the confidence of a dancer. And I am so fascinated with the posture of a dancer. Why is that so important?
Mm-hmm. Well, you have to have good posture so that you can do all these very technical steps. You know, I think that that's one of the positive things about dancing. Even if you never become a professional dancer, I always tell the kids, you guys are going to have the best posture, and your spines are going to be healthy for your whole life because you've worked your abdominal muscles. So it is important, and it's also just that you should look like when you're dancing that you're on top of your legs, not, you know, if you were seeing a modern or more contemporary ballet, it should look more grounded into the floor. But when you're in those point shoes, it should almost look like you're floating, and it should look effortless. It's not by any means. It is incredibly hard, but we want the audience to walk away thinking, oh my gosh, that looks so easy and light and effortless, even though, you know, she's coming off stage and heaving and, you know, like, oh my gosh, that was so hard. I'm, you know, and tired and sweating and, you know, all of those things. But the audience shouldn't really see all of that because we're making it look easy, graceful. Yeah, that's where the graceful term, I think, comes when it comes to ballet.
Well, you certainly, all of you all are out there making it look easy, because we have another young viewer who is asking, if I'm 10 years old, is it too late for me to start dancing?
Is it too late to start at 10?
Oh, actually, no, that's exactly the age I started. I started off with sports and basketball, soccer, and wrestling. And Lynn Swann came to our school one day, a famous Pittsburgh Steeler, and he talked about how he took ballet to help his jump in the end zone to get above everyone. And I thought, and for his footwork, for running. And I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. Let me check out dance classes. And so I thought, as playing sports, it would be good to combine. But then I got in there and started enjoying dance and lovely ladies, and so it was a very easy transition. But no, it's not too late to start at 10.
Val,
Yeah, we
so
actually
happy.
have
Go
had
ahead,
quite a
Mishik.
few dancers.
Oh, no, Mishik,
I was just going to say the
no, you
lilac
go ahead.
fairy that you saw tonight.
We're going to go back and forth. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the lilac fairy that you saw dancing today, she started older. Some girls start when they're 4 and 5, but I believe she started when she was 7 or 8 and is, out there doing the lilac variation. So it's never too late to start dance.
And I was just going to say, Mishik, I'm glad that Val brought up the fact that when he was a young boy, he got into ballet dancing, and that was to improve his athleticism. And so for all of you athletes out there in Texoma, you could get involved in ballet dancing. And I've also been told that yoga is really good as well in terms of improving athleticism for athletes.
Yes, that's absolutely true. We had Herschel Walker when we were professional dancers come to Fort Worth Dallas Ballet, which is now Texas Ballet Theatre, and he trained and did a pas de deux on stage with one of the principal dancers. And I was not in the company yet, but Val was still there, and he's told me stories that Herschel Walker, talked about how ballet was one of the hardest things he's ever done, and that football was way easier. So having to lift a girl who's 120, 130 pounds over your head, that's not an easy feat.
But this was a man who thought ballet was hard, but every morning did 1,000 sit-ups and 1,000 push-ups instead of lifting weights, and then did the same thing at night, but had incredible muscle.
Sounds like you've got to have incredible strength to dance and, again, be so graceful. And, again, it is so wonderful to watch. We do have another young viewer who also wants to know, speaking of being strong, do ballerinas have to be on a certain diet?
Do you have to be on a certain diet?
There's a lot of. I want to just mostly have a good balance of everything. For me, I just make sure I eat a lot of protein, and I really enjoy like salads, and I really like vegetables just by themselves. So I like to eat a lot of fruit and vegetables, and sometimes other people, they just want. That's not them, and that's okay. But I think it's just more of a little bit of a balance because we dance and burn a lot, so you need that energy.
Yeah, what I was going to say is when I was a professional dancer and you would walk into the dancers' lounge at lunchtime, it was not the healthiest food you would see being eaten because we're dancing 7.5 hours a day. So you're burning so many calories that you actually have to really watch and make sure that you're getting all those calories back. So, I think an average dancer probably eats between 2,000, 2,500 calories a day, and that might seem like a lot, but to do what we're doing and to expel the energy and to have, she has to do a 3-act ballet tonight, so she'll have to go get a really good luncheon before she comes back to dance again at 7 o'clock. So it is about balance, definitely, making sure you get all the food groups and don't think that dancers don't eat sweets, because we absolutely do. In fact, at our studio, donuts are our favorite.
We second you on that, because at the news station, we love our sweets and we love our donuts too. So I totally get that. What I also want to know is, if someone was interested in preparing for an audition, what would they need to know? What would they need to know to be prepared, rather?
Well, if they've had dance training, usually when they come to an audition with us, they just show up and I'm going to teach them a little bit of choreography during the audition. So they just have to come in their dance clothes and just be ready to learn different, like for instance, in Nutcracker, I'll teach them a little bit of everything so that I can get a sense of what they're going to be best suited for and most comfortable to perform. We have in Nutcracker specifically, we have roles starting at 5 years old. Our angels are little, so they don't have a lot of experience yet, so they don't do a lot of steps, but they're still very important to the story of Nutcracker, and they usually actually steal the show because they're just so darn cute when the curtain goes up. But so yeah, I'm the one that do all the auditions, and I take them in there, and we'll talk before the audition because I want people to feel really comfortable in that environment. I don't want them to be scared or nervous, and I teach them everything that they need to know in the moment. So there's really nothing they need to do to be prepared because I'm there for them to make them comfortable.
Mishik, how often do you all put on these ballet performances for the community to check out?
So we have 3 performances every year. We start our season off with WFBT Presents, and then we do our annual Nutcracker performance in December, and then in the spring we usually finish with some big story ballet. Next year is actually the Ballet Theater's 60th anniversary, so it's going to be a really exciting season for the dancers. Unfortunately, Abigail will not be here with us because she is a senior this year and is graduating, so she is off to start her professional career. Sorry, I'll try not to cry, but I've had her for a while. She's going off to Ballet North Texas in Dallas. So she has worked really hard and gets to start. Sorry, I'm an emotional person when I have to say goodbye to my dancers, but this is a great send-off for her to get to do Aurora. So for our 60th, it's going to be really exciting. We're starting the season. We're going to celebrate all the artistic directors that have been a part of the Ballet Theater over 60 years. And for Nutcracker, we're super excited that the Wichita Falls Symphony Orchestra will be playing live music for all 3 of our performances. So that's a collaboration that we've been working on for many years. It happened a long time ago with the original artistic directors, and we're really excited that we've been able to bring it back, and we hope that it will be a long-lasting collaboration. And then in the spring, we are doing A Midsummer Night's Dream, Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream with Backdoor Theater. So hopefully you'll check in next year and we'll do our virtual tour and you'll get to see Midsummer Night's Dream. And it's really, it's an interesting because I choreographed it where the fairies and the ethereal characters in Midsummer Night's Dream are the dancers, but the human characters are actually played by actors. So there will be a theater aspect to it with the players being from Backdoor Theater, and they will be doing the Shakespeare play within the dancing. So it's a really neat production for people to see, and that one has a ton of kids in it. I want to say 30 or 40 just kids as bugs in that production.
That sounds like a fantastic lineup of production performances coming up that we can expect. I just want to tell you too, Abigail, you look so beautiful in your costume, and also we wish you the best as you move forward here at KFDX. We're really proud of you all there and what you're doing. So, and I can see why you, oh my goodness, you got me a little emotional because it's just so wonderful to see women, especially being able to move forward and do good things, especially in this community. So again, congratulations to you all. And again, Mishik, if you could just tell us and anybody watching, if we wanted to get more information on any upcoming performances, how we can even participate, where can we go?
So if you want to get any more information, you can check out the WFBT.org website. If you want to get information on our school, which is the Wichita Falls Youth Ballet, which is where all these dancers train, you can go to balletwf.com. All those links are on the Ballet Theater's website. We have our school link on there. So if you just go to WFBT.org, you can get all the information. And check back in August because that's when we'll update for our next season and any exciting things that will be happening. That's where you'll want to get that information, or any auditions, say for Nutcracker, that information will be posted on the WFBT.org website.
Mishik, thank you so much for giving us the details of everything. We not only appreciate you and Val, and we especially appreciate Abigail for joining you all. And again, the best of luck to Abigail as she moves forward in her career.
Yes, thank you guys, and it was really awesome. I hope everybody out there enjoyed the performance, and if any of the teachers want more information or want your classroom's questions answered, you can always email us at info@wfbt.org, and we can answer any questions because we'd love for the kids to be inspired by this.
Certainly an inspiring time. Thank you again for joining us. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, that'll do it for us here, and a special thanks to KFDX for making this broadcast possible. And on behalf of Region 9 and the Arts Council, thank you again and have a great day with art.